Good evening and welcome to my channel. My name is Natasha, and if you're new here, I post daily videos talking about whatever comes to my mind. I have 100 subscribers today. I can't believe people are listening to my thoughts. I'm literally just coming here. I don't have a niche. I don't have, a goal or aim or anything. It feels good to me to just post my thoughts. So I have a little topic every day. And today, the topic that's been on my mind is loneliness and toxic independence. And that's not because I feel lonely at the moment, because I really don't, but it's because in the past few years I've felt incredibly, painfully lonely. And now I'm coming out of it, I feel like I can reflect on it and talk about it. So this might be a long video. Get yourself a cup of tea, because I have a lot to say on this. So, where to start? I've been single for 4 years now. I thought it was 3, but I did the maths earlier. I've been single for 4 years. And when I broke up with my ex, I was pretty hurt because he did a sexual act with another man, my friend, at a party in front of me, and I was traumatized by it, to be honest. And I never even had a conversation with him about if he was bisexual or gay. I was just too heartbroken, and I was scared to know the truth, I guess. And since then, I've been single and I've found it hard to trust people. And following that breakup, I isolated myself to a really dangerous extent, to the point where I was suicidal, and I started to binge eat in private. I would lock myself in my room every night and just binge eat so much that it felt like my stomach was going to burst. And I was overworking. I was working 7 days a week. I was over exercising. I was exercising like 4 hours a day sometimes, because I just didn't want to sit with my feelings. I just could not relax because I didn't want to feel the pain that I was going through. And I've been sober now for almost 2 years. The best decision I've ever made, because it finally let me feel my feelings that I've been blocking out. So that's what I wanted to note, that I've always struggled with socializing, and I didn't realize it at the time because I saw myself as a social butterfly. I was always at all the parties. I had a bunch of friends. I was popular. But in reality, I was just using alcohol and drugs to fit in and to kind of lubricate my social battery. Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense, but I would use alcohol and drugs to appear confident and sociable, but that's not who I am, I don't think. So I do struggle with social anxiety, but over the last few years, since isolating myself, I've become physically ill. And I've done a lot of research on this, and I honestly think that, it's proven that loneliness shortens your lifespan, and I can completely see why now. And I honestly believe there's such thing as toxic independence, and I am toxically independent, to the point where I hate asking people for help. And that's not what life's about. I don't think it's good to be that way. I think we need each other more than ever in this day and age. And I think what's really helped me to reflect as well is that up until a couple of months ago, I was working in a corporate environment for a few years, and that's the most depressed I've ever been in my entire life. I think the lack of... so I'm working as a waitress at the moment, and I have had some opportunities to go back to corporate, but I don't think I want to, because people think I'm crazy, and people want to know, oh, when are you going to get a real job, as in a 9 to 5 where I sit at a desk 8 hours a day. That is not normal. It is normal today, but I honestly think it makes us ill. Now that I'm waitressing and I'm looking people in the eye and I'm using my hands and I'm moving my body, I'm talking to my team, I'm physically in contact with them because we're like brushing past each other, and it just I feel healthier already. I've only been doing it for 2 weeks and I feel so much more healthier. I feel like I've got a spring in my step. I feel so much happier, honestly. And I saw a psychic today at my work, because where I'm waitressing, it's actually such a cool place, and we get loads of celebrities and really wealthy people. It's so cool. And there was this woman sat outside with the most gorgeous like cockapoodle dog, and her eyes were so blue, and she said that she's a professional psychic. And I was like, because I'm a bit psychic as well, so I was like, do you have any messages for me, any downloads? Let's go. And she said, just follow your heart and you'll stay grounded. And it's so true, because when I follow my head, my body suffers, and when I follow my heart, it's all about connection. And yeah, something that springs to mind as well that I think is quite toxic these days, Botox. And part of me, my mind goes to, oh, you should go and get Botox because you're 30 nearly and you've got lines growing here and here, and everyone gets Botox and you need to prevent the wrinkles. Do you know what having Botox does? It freezes our face so that we can't make facial expressions, and that will make us feel more lonely because we're not actually connecting with each other through facial expressions. We have facial expressions for a reason, so we can express ourselves to each other. If we're filled with Botox, how are we going to do that? Like, the maths in my head says that it's going to make people more depressed if they have Botox, because think of a baby. If you're a mum with Botox and then you've got a little baby, the baby learns from its mum's facial expressions. The baby feels love from its mum's facial expressions and learns facial expressions. How does a baby learn about facial expressions if its mum doesn't have facial expressions? It's going to grow into a world being really socially awkward. I think. That's what I think. Another thing, and because I've been doing some professional cleaning recently, and these are people that are living in council houses, and I'm really trying not to judge. I'm not going to judge, but what I have seen and felt is going on is that the wealthy people are chilling, and the people in the probably classes living in poverty, or the lower underneath, is it lower class? Do we call them lower class? And then the people that are working and the middle class are the ones suffering the most and the most lonely, because they're working so much. Especially working class are having to work extra hours. Actually middle class as well, they're staying in the office late, and then when they finish work they're too tired to do anything or to be present with their family. And I just think this whole thing is a mess. And I also think, right, imagine if we all just helped each other and leaned on each other and actually asked each other for help and allowed ourselves to be dependent on each other. We could do anything. You could literally get a community, and in that community there will be somebody who can do everything. You'll have a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, someone that can grow the vegetables, someone that can cook. You'll have a midwife. You'll have somebody to, like, manage, organize. You'll have somebody to do sales to the other communities. You'll have somebody to manage the finances. You'll have somebody to make the clothes. You'll have somebody to, you know, do the heavy lifting and the DIY. You'll have somebody to build the houses. You don't need money, you just need each other. Literally. This is sounding very hippie of me, but it's so true. It's so true. Like, my heart is literally crying because, like, think of all the old people right now, and I've witnessed this. Old people are treated so badly by social services and carers. I'm not saying that's all carers, but there's a lot of carers that don't give a damn about old people. They just want a paycheck, and they're going into these old people's houses and they're treating them badly, and they're force feeding them, and they're like being really rough with changing them. And there's no cameras in the house, and how would anyone know the abuse that's going on with these old people? So, old people think how lonely they are if their spouse has died, or their children don't go to visit, or they don't have any children. Imagine if, as a community, we all looked after the old people. Like, we had a rota where everyone in the community goes round to the old person's house at a certain time of day, or takes a meal, or does a bit of gardening. It could take an hour, and that old person could have a really happy life and enjoyable life. And think about these old people have given so much in their lives just to be left lonely and abused. It makes me feel sick. Then I'm jumping around, but I'm just saying what comes to my mind, totally uncut and unhinged. I feel like people that work in corporate live in fear. People are nasty to each other. They're backstabbing. They're just trying to climb the ladder. They're so bitchy. They are not willing to help. They don't have the capacity to help because they're so burnt out. They don't have any room for compassion, and they don't have any time or mental capacity to think about their team or their other colleagues. It's all about money and the fear of not having enough money and trying to keep up with everyone in the corporate world. And just the thought of it now, staring at a screen for 8 hours a day, makes me feel sick. And if you're working in corporate now, or you have worked in corporate or a 9 to 5, you know how lonely that can be. And the worst thing about being lonely is it doesn't necessarily mean that you're alone. Being in solitude and being lonely are two completely different things. You can be in solitude and not feel lonely. You can feel quite fulfilled, which is where I'm at now, actually. I love spending time alone. But I've been around people, and I've been in relationships and certain situations where I've been so lonely that I felt like nobody understood me. I felt like I had nowhere to turn to, even though I was sleeping in a bed with somebody and living with somebody and feeling so lonely. It's horrible. What else do I have to say? Another reason I think that we're lonely is we're so distracted these days by our phone, by so many different things going on in our lives, that it's struggle to be present with the people that are in front of us. So I'm so guilty of this. Even if I go for dinner with somebody, I check my phone, or phone call comes through, and then I'm thinking about that, or I'm thinking about tomorrow, I'm thinking what I need to do. I'm thinking about, just constantly thinking about what's next, rather than just thinking what's in front of me and how can I just focus on that and enjoy that. I'm so addicted to social media. I'm so addicted to my phone. I can't put it down. From the minute I wake up to the moment I go to bed, I'm swiping, I'm doom scrolling, I'm checking to see if any of you have commented on my videos, and then I'm like, thank you so much. Honestly, it makes me so happy when you comment on my videos. So I'm like, oh, guys. And I'm still shocked that anyone's listening to or watching these. I'm honestly shocked. I did not expect viewings like this. I'm so grateful. And your comments are so helpful. Like, they really help me to reflect on the topic and think. It makes me think deeper, and I just love that. Another thing is, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, okay, so when I was in solitude, I thought that I was healing, and I thought that I needed to be alone to heal. But recently I've realized that I'm too afraid of being triggered, because if I put myself out there and put myself into social situations, put myself into dating and relationships and family situations, people push my buttons and I get triggered. And that means that I'm not healed. And sometimes I prefer to be comfortable and not be triggered and avoid being triggered, because it hurts and it humbles me and it hurts my ego. But if we're not being triggered, we're not growing. So that kind of motivates me to push myself to really get out there. Another reason why I love this waitressing job, because I have to look people in the eye, talk to people. I make mistakes. I'm sorry. I'm human. I'm sorry. I'm just telling people that their eyes are beautiful. They've got gorgeous eyelashes. Asking people about their pregnancy. Just smiling at people. Giving people a little free cake. Or just telling them... Oh, I probably shouldn't do this, but when I overhear conversations, I'm just like, especially women complaining about men, I'm like, girl, join my female-only society. Okay, and another thing, so because I've been heartbroken a lot, that is one reason that I fear getting close to people. But something that I keep in mind is that if I'm heartbroken, it means that I've loved. And if I've loved, it means that I've lived. So I'm not gonna stop. I might get heartbroken again, but I'm gonna keep putting myself out there, because connection with people. Also, when I can't connect with people, if I'm so burnt out that I can't push myself to socialize, I will go and have a massage. The sexy Thai lady massages are the best. They're a little bit intimate, but do you know what? That's sometimes what I need. Because I just need someone to touch me and tell me, I'm a very sexy lady. I'm like, yes, babes. Take my money. Stroke me. And after I've had a massage, I just feel like I've had the human connection that I need. I think we should all hug each other more. I think it should be mandatory at work that you have to hug your manager when you go in. Things like that, I think that should be brought in by government rules. Everyone has to hug. And something like on Sundays we have to hang out with our neighbours. I picked a parcel up from Jeffrey. I've lived here for a year. Jeffrey I met yesterday. Lovely guy. Lovely guy. He didn't even know I lived here. He had no idea. I didn't know Jeffrey existed. And by the end of our conversation, turns out he's Christian. He didn't even have to tell me he was Christian, but he said, keep me in your prayers. And I pray all the time, all day, every day. So when he said that, I was like, we have something in common. And he's a 60-year-old man. And he's my neighbour, and I would love to hang out with him. And I'm so glad he had my parcel. So yeah, just sometimes you don't know who you're going to connect with. I think you should give everyone a chance, be open-minded, speak to everyone. It's going to make you healthier. You have nothing to lose. If it triggers you, you're going to grow as a person. If it upsets you, you're going to be humbled. If it breaks your heart, it means that you loved. And that's amazing. That means that you loved and you're living. Life is just about falling in love, honestly. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say in it right now. I'm just super concerned because research has shown that the loneliness pandemic kind of thing has been on the rise, and mental health has been on the rise since 2010. And I think that's around the time we started using social media a lot and becoming addicted to our phones. I think that has a lot to do with us being lonely because we make less effort to go out and meet people. Like, if I wasn't speaking to my screen right now or watching TV or doom scrolling, I'd be so bored that I probably would go and knock on Jeff's door and be like, do you want to have a brew? Do you want to have a cuppa? How's your day been, Jeff? Or I'd go to the local coffee shop and I'd probably like pretend to read, and then I'd like overhear someone's conversation and butt in and be like, oh my God, me too. Or I wouldn't be staring at my phone and listening to music. I'd be walking around bored on my way to places. I would slow down because I'm not in a hurry. And we should just get rid of clocks and everything. We should just get rid of time. We should get rid of everything and just connect. Live each minute as it comes. Speak to each other on the street. Help each other. And it's more important that we reach out when we need help, because people want to help us. We forget that. People feel valued. When people ask me for help or ask me for my advice, I feel so appreciated. It's really nice. So don't be afraid to ask people for help. You're not being a nuisance. You're actually helping the other person by asking for help. You're giving them a purpose. So make sure you reach out for help if you're feeling lonely. Thank you so much for listening. Good night. See you tomorrow.